Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And we're taking a look at a movie that I just watched this afternoon, which is supposed to be part of the MCU. It's a Marvel comic based, but it didn't feel like one, to be honest. Even the storyline, the plot, and the gimmick based around it didn't feel like it's something from the MCU. I don't really get that kind of superhero feeling, but it's supposed to be from the comics. Although I've never heard of it before, I've only heard of it when I saw the trailer. I am talking about Morbius. Morbius, yeah, Morbius. Morbius. I thought Jared Leto's acting. Let's give it a try. So it just came out this year. Critics have not been very kind to it. I didn't think a lot of fans haven't been that kind to it either. I didn't have that much of a problem with it because I was kind of like going to the movie with very low expectations and therefore was entertained enough. Although it's not a movie which I think I might rewatch multiple times like how I do most of the superhero films. This one probably isn't going to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the main things, which is it's a 2022 American superhero film. Why? I don't know. It's basically a vampire movie based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, produced by Columbia Pictures and distributed by Sony. So it's supposed to be part of the Spider-Verse. It is the third film in the Sony Spider-Man universe, they call it. So Venom 1 and Venom 2 and then this. Directed by Daniel Espinosa and written by some people. It stars Jared Leto as Michael Morbius alongside Matt Smith. I'm not sure, but I think this is the first time I've actually seen Matt Smith in anything. If I'm not mistaken, I have to go back and check. But he was one of the one of the doctors in Doctor Who's, and I have no interest in Doctor Who. I'm not convinced by Doctor Who at all. So I'm not interested in that particular universe. But I did get to know that he's part of one of them. In fact, I knew him and David Tennant are one of the doctors. So that's most that I can talk about them. You've also got Adria Ariona, I guess that's how it's pronounced. She's a Puerto Rican American, and she kind of looks very familiar, but I don't think I've actually seen her in anything before. I'll have to recheck it. However, she just got that face that's kind of like very, memorable, I guess. She just looks very familiar to me. Jared Harris, Al Madrigal, and Tyrese Gibson, and in typical fashion, there are no other women of any note in this particular movie. So basically, and this is like an origin story, initially you have 10-year-old Michael Morbius, who is in a hospital in Greece. He's got a rare blood condition which makes him, it's very difficult for him to walk. He's using crutches, and he is sort of like taken in by this doctor who is the director of the hospital, Nicholas, and he meets another young boy, roughly the same age. His name is Lucian, but Michael starts calling him Milo, and they kind of like become brothers. They surrogate brothers. Because of Michael's abilities, he is taken into a special school where he can, and then later on he goes to become a medical school in New York because he's in genius level. So 25 years later, you get to see him going into some island of Costa Rica where there are these bats, vampire bats basically, and he captures a lot of them. His work with with the creation of synthetic blood gets him a Nobel Prize. I was about to say Oscar, a Nobel Prize, but he openly rejects it at the ceremony, which most people think that he's actually dumb, but he says he doesn't really need it. So he gets Milo, who's actually from a very rich family, and he's got some business. They don't really talk too much about it. To fund his newest mission, he's looking for a cure for both of them. So they get a private mercenary vessel in international waters to conduct the experiment. Him with his colleague and sort of girlfriend. What's her name in this? Martine Bancroft, who is another scientist and doctor, and played by the lady who I mentioned, Adria or John Ariona. So the experiment works. He's been doing this experiment for a while, and basically it transformed him into a vampire, and then the crew gets scared. They go in and they attack him, and then he kills them and drinks their blood. Um, as usual, as expected. Martine is knocked out, but he doesn't kill her, of course. He takes care of her, and then he is shocked by what he's done, so he calls the authorities, and then he leaves. She is taken to the hospital in New York somewhere. Yeah. So now we have Morbius. He discovers he's got superhuman strength, speed, reflexes, echolocation, all sort of stuff. He's basically become a bat, and the bats seem to accept him like a brother, like one of them. And you've got these two FBI agents who are investigating the deaths of these people. They suspect he's got something to do with it. And well, what happens is that Milo finds, when he speaks to Michael, he finds out that he's got the cure for their ailment, but it turns them into vampires, and he says it doesn't matter, I want it. He doesn't allow him to take it. However, he steals it, takes it, kills a nurse, and puts to put suspicion onto Michael. Michael is now wanted by the FBI. He escapes, and then Milo starts taunting him, comes to the prison, and then basically gives off the hint that he is the one who actually killed the nurse, and he gives some blood to Michael, human blood basically, and then he knows that he escapes from there. Milo starts killing other people, putting the blame on to Michael, but then the FBI realizes that there must be more than one killer, and they see from camera footage as well. So that's the basic thing. And of course there's the showdown, the two brothers fighting. Milo kills the dad, then goes after the girlfriend while the man is dying, Nicholas is dying. He calls for Michael. Michael comes there. This guy attacks the girlfriend. While she's dying, Michael reaches out and tries to help her, but they kiss. She makes him drink her blood, but although I think he doesn't really notice it, but some of his blood does go into her through the mouth. She dies, or it seems we think she dies, and then basically you've got the big fight out scene. Now I really like that part because it's kind of dark. The CGI does seem a little awful, but I did like the fight scene, to be honest. And then finally Morbius or Michael, he's able to get the help of the bats that he's been befriending to attack Milo, and then he injects an antibody into him, and Milo basically dies. So he leaves once the cops comes in, and then he's basically mourning the death of his loved ones, his dad, surrogate dad, his surrogate brother, and of course the love of his life. But he, in the towards the end, we actually see that she awakens, and she's also possibly a vampire now. But then they don't see them getting to know each other. There's a post credit scene in which Adrian Toomes, the vulture, I can't remember the character's name in the thing. Adrian Toomes, played by Michael Keaton, is the vulture. Yeah, that was correct. That was correct the first time I checked. So he is transported to Morbius's universe in some kind of. Oh yeah, it's probably because of things that happened in No Way Home, and he knows that this is something to do with Spider-Man. So he meets up with Morbius and say, "I suggest we become a team," and that's where the movie ends. Excited to see what they would actually do later on, but overall it's too dark to see. It's almost like a DC film to be funny. I couldn't help it. But it's not the greatest. I will reluctantly give it a 6.5 out of 10. Reluctantly give it a 6.5 out of 10. It was okay, but I still will probably watch it somewhere down the line. It isn't going to be one of my favorites, but that's basically it. Morbius, 6.5 out of 10. Uh, I think they should have just skipped the origin storyline for this. Just go on straight with the character and showed him to be like, in some kind of scene, flashback that this is actually a vampire, blah blah blah, all that stuff. This wasn't. It's almost like a Hindi movie, to be honest. So anyway, that's Morbius. That's my review. I'll put spoilers on the um, title because I basically went through the entire thing. The acting is okay from Jared Leto and the others, but I think Matt Smith probably is like the scene stealer, especially when he's being bad. So that's it for this review. I think I'm going to go to probably watch a Abbott and Costello movie probably, and then go to bed. Thank you guys. It's been fun. Have a good night.